Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is an Everton fan reacting to England's defeat in the European Championship final to Spain 2-1. And there's a good friend of mine who's just texted me to say football is not coming home. And it is, I think supporting England is probably worse than supporting Everton because I don't know why, but supporting England through that tournament was very, very difficult. From when Jared Branthwaite got dropped from the squad originally, that was very frustrating. And you can argue Mark Gay did quite well across the tournament, but that was disappointing. And then England's performance in the actual games. Let's quickly look back at the tournament first. The group stage was a farce. Won the first game 1-0, but we were hardly pulling up any trees with the performance. And we were all thinking, oh, God, we've won 1-0, but the performance has got to get better. It simply didn't get any better. 2 consecutive 0-0 draws, never looked like scoring. It kind of reminded me in the group stage of Everton under Frank Lampard or Rafa Benitez in the worst period where you just never looked like scoring. It didn't matter what you did. You've got Harry Kane really isolated in those games, all of the ball, but no end product. And we go through on default 5 points and then somehow get the easiest run to the final you could imagine. You've got Germany, you've got Spain, you've got Portugal, you've got Belgium, you've got France, all on the other side of the group, and other side of the draw. And you think we've somehow cobbled our way through this group, playing terribly, drawing 0-0 against 2 poor teams. Can't even remember the names of them. I think they were minnows, or it might have been Slovenia and one other. I'd have to look back, but there were 3 poor games. Somehow managed to get through. Somehow managed to get this crazy run to the final where we played Denmark, and we beat the Danes on pens. I think I might be missing a game here, but beat the Danes. It's very late. It's very late here. This isn't a Midnight Blues from America. This is from the UK. We didn't. Sorry, I'm getting things a little bit mixed up here. Played Denmark. Let me just get this up on the thing, just so for accuracy here. Yeah, so we played Serbia in the first match. Won 1-0. It was poor. Then we drew with Denmark. That was it. Sorry, I got confused. We drew with Denmark, and then we drew with England. But we only scored 2 goals in the entire group stage. It was really, really poor. Then we played Slovakia 2-1. England were at one stage in that match going out. I think Slovakia were winning for like 75 minutes. Yeah. So Slovakia were winning for 75 minutes. And then obviously Jude Bellingham scored in the last minute of injury time, 95th minute, to take it to 1-1. And Kane scored an extra time, and we scraped through Slovakia. So we scraped out of the group. Then we scraped past Slovakia. Then we played Switzerland. We went down in that game. We didn't play very well at all. It was very poor. I'm going to talk about some of the tactical things in a moment, and this match, obviously today's. But we went through on penalties against Switzerland. Jordan Pickford making a save. England with a flawless penalty record there. Then we played the Netherlands. Same again there. The Netherlands go ahead, and England get a lucky penalty. Harry Kane scores. It was never a penalty for me. And then Ollie Watkins scores in the 90th minute. So you can say coming into the tournament, England were all about moments. The Jude Bellingham equaliser, the penalty shootout win, the Ollie Watkins last-minute winner. There were moments, but in all these fixtures, Serbia, Denmark, Slovenia, Slovakia, Switzerland, Netherlands, we played shit. Apart from about 45 minutes in that first half against Netherlands, we played shit. Let's not get too excited with the fact that England got to a final. There's a lot of people going, Southgate did amazing. We played shit and we got through simply by, I don't know what to say, moments from star players. And you look at the England team, you look at the England squad, you've got the best goal scorer in Europe, Harry Kane, Golden Boot winner. You've got Phil Foden, who won the Premier League 3 times in a row, I think, he's won it several times with Man City, and he's an unbelievable player. Won the Champions League, won everything there is. He's one of the best players in the Premier League. Same with Saka, playing for Arsenal, who were so close to the title last season. These are world-class players. Then you've got Jude Bellingham, arguably for some the best player in Europe. So you seeing them 4 players coming into the final today. You know, England had only scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals all tournament. It was a disgrace coming into it. And Southgate, yes, a few substitutions he'd made had helped. Certainly the Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins ones against Netherlands, and I think there was one against Slovakia. Maybe I think it was Ivan Toney came on and very, very late, and England won. He won a flick on, and Bellingham scored. But really, for me, there were so many things wrong with this. Let's talk about the game today, and then let's reflect back on the whole. But today, I think Spain come into this as favourites. They'd won every single match in the tournament so far. They were playing the best football. They've got players not even involved like Pedri and Gavi, so they're going to be phenomenal for years to come. But I looked at the Spain team, and I think man for man in most positions, I would have picked an England player. So you look at that and you think England may have the better individuals overall, but Spain are far better coached. They've got a clear system, a clear plan, keep the ball, possession football. In a way, with what they want to do, the 2 wingers for Spain want to cut inside onto their stronger foots. They've got what's his face, who's played for Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Can't remember his name up front for them. The captain. He'll come back to me in a minute. But they've got a certain style of play with the ball, playing on the front foot, with the possession, and trying to find spaces and trying to get in behind you and make it difficult for you. But actually, if you were organised and you restrict those spaces for Spain, and you force them into playing these crosses into the box, which England are good at defending, then how are they going to score? And really, what we did was we played into the hands with the 2 goals that they did score, which were on the transition when we've been caught out of position, when players are not doing their jobs. You've got Bukayo Saka, I think, for the first goal, Phil Foden, Kane, you've got all of the players still up the pitch, no one getting back into the right position. Walker is very central. He's not going out wide to try and stop him. And Nico Williams cuts in and scores. And it was so easy and so frustrating. It's so predictable as well. It's literally what you talk about before the game. Nico Williams, Yamal, the 2 players for Spain. You know what they're going to do. They've got pace, they've got trickery, they're going to cut inside. They're good with running with the ball, and they're good finishers. And you play into their hands, and Spain obviously go 1-0 up in the fixture. And you sit there and you think, well, it's to be expected because we've played. And I've jumped ahead there a little bit, but England hadn't turned up in that match. We'd had the first 45 minutes. We sat there. It was Spain, Spain, Spain. They had loads of corners. England offered diddly squat, apart from a blocked shot from Kane and Phil Foden at the back post with a little P-roller into the goalie. There was nothing coming from England. And you were thinking, you've got to make changes. You've got to make changes. And look at how England were playing up to that point. You've got Harry Kane on the pitch. As I said to you before, European Golden Boot winner, but he stood there isolated. It was like reminding me of Calvert-Lewin in some games when Everton would play away from home against a really big team, and he's just isolated, and he never looks like he's going to be doing anything, playing long balls into him and hoping that someone's going to get in and around him. And then you had Phil Foden playing, because England were playing this sort of 4-4-1-1 with Bellingham on the left. It was very, very strange. Play your players in your best position first and foremost. But anyway, I'll come to that in a second. Foden was in the hole, anonymous in the first half, couldn't get a touch, couldn't have any impact on the game. Spain were just blocking that line through the vertical pass, making it very difficult. England struggling to play out through Spain, who were touch tight on their press, but yet when Spain had the ball, we were nowhere near them. So we were just totally dominated. Then you've got, I'm jumping from thing to thing here. It's not a structured this match reaction. It's just my thoughts, really. But then you've got Jude Bellingham on the wing, where he doesn't play for his club team. He plays in the middle. So you're sticking your best player arguably on the left. I mean, what is he going to do in that position? And you're not giving him the service. Very, very frustrating. And then on the right hand side, Saka completely anonymous. And then, as I said, for that first goal, he's not helping it out. Kyle Walker, it's all over the place. You look at that midfield, Kobe Mainu, Rice, it's all backwards, and sideways. No penetration forward. Not willing to take the ball on the turn and pass forward and get behind Spain and play to players' strengths. Well, Southgate set this team up with Bellingham on the wing, which is ridiculous. He put Phil Foden in the hole, but it was a complete disaster. And you've got Harry Kane, who thrives with two pacey wingers either side and runners going beyond him. And this is England's biggest fan in a white England kit. But we don't have the runners. We didn't have anyone running beyond Kane. We didn't have wingers with pace. They just want to cut inside and slow it down. Kane slows it down. Saka slows it down. Bellingham worked hard, but he was completely out of position. Phil Foden anonymous. The two midfielders sideways and backwards. Kyle Walker is just a pace merchant, but defensively awareness is appalling. And Luke Shaw, in credit to him in that first half, he was touch tight on Yamal, who wanted to stay wide, and he made it very, very difficult. And John Stones also played well in that defence. But once Spain got that first goal that I just was talking about, you couldn't really see a way back for England in the game without substitutions. And I'm going to keep bias aside because I'm looking at this not as an Everton fan, but as an England fan. Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, if you're going to play possession football and try and create chances, he's better than Walker at that. His end product offensively is a different class. Yes, defensively, he can be suspect, but Liverpool play a very specific style. You've got Anthony Gordon. I'm not going to confess that I like the bloke, but, he got a lot of goals and assists for Newcastle last season. And Jared Bowen, very talented player. These players have got pace. These players can make things happen. You felt like you needed to turn to the bench. You've also got Cole Palmer, of course, and Ollie Watkins, who were two of the best players in the Premier League last season and scored goals for fun. And they had barely had a sniff all tournament. So you couldn't see where the goal was coming from. Spain were just got ahead. They were slowing it down. They were making it difficult. When England had the ball, they were touch tight on us. They were pressing. They were stopping us playing out from the back. They were forcing us to play it long to Kane, who was isolated, had no one around him. There were so many off days. It was unbelievable. You're pulling your hair out at that moment. And then Southgate finally, he makes a substitution. He brings on Watkins, but there was very little service into him. No one with actual creativity coming from midfield to get him in behind. England, the thing I was thinking was England just play so different to how the players play for their clubs. As I say, with Kane, he's got wingers bombing on. He's got pace either side. He's got midfield runners at Bayern. He doesn't have that with England. Most of the players in the England team are used to playing high press, win the ball back fast, dynamic, play with pace, loads of players forward, and just suffocate opposition. But for England, for some reason, they want to. It's very negative. It's very conservative. There's no real determination there to change it either. Sorry about that. And it just frustrates me when you've got players who are used to playing high press, dominating teams, and I think England have got players who are. They clearly had players who can play that possession football because they do it for the club teams. They've got players who can press because they do it for the club teams. So it all comes on the manager. And he did make those substitutions. He brought on Watkins, then he brought on Cole Palmer, and England then got a grip of the game. Cole Palmer, I believe it was quite nice down the right-hand side, and then Bellingham passes it back to Palmer, and he hits it with his left foot, and it takes a deflection, which is the reason it beats the keeper, make no mistake. And England are back in it 1-1. You think, don't let this slip. Build on this. And I think we had 2-3 minutes where we seemed to step it up. We play with a bit more energy, a bit more intent. All that energy and intent that wasn't there in that whole game, and in fairness, wasn't being there the whole tournament. And then it fades. Spain just get their foot on the ball. We play into the hands with the long balls as well. But Spain get their foot on the ball. They pass around you. They pass behind you. They're explosive, and England had no answers, and Spain completely took control of it. And then they get the second goal, for Spain so late in the game. Uh, Southgate was about to bring on Conor Gallagher and I think someone else, but at this point, I think he was thinking Spain are all over us. Let's try and get to extra time and regroup. And a lot of that was because if you tactically, if you looked at what England and Spain were doing in those sort of last 15 minutes, Spain were having, once they'd gone behind, they were willing to put 4 players right up front for them. One of the midfielders, their striker, and the 2 wingers right up against our defence. They were still willing to play out from the back. And so when England pressed, if Spain beat the press, they'd play into a midfield where there was tons of space because the defence, playing out the back deep, trying to suck England in. Then they've got all their forwards there. It's high risk football, but they got behind, and they exposed that big space, and they did it again for that second goal. I'm trying to think back what it was. The ball comes in from the left-hand side, and Mark Gay is beaten at the near post, and Pickford is coming out of his goal trying to stop it, and kind of dives out the way. But it all comes again for me defensively. If I recall, a lot of it is to do with that right-hand side with Saka and Walker, but also with reading the danger and the structure of the team, the style of the play, the formation, and the mentality was all off. And Spain, I've got to be honest with you, they absolutely deserved to win the tournament. They won every match. I don't think England deserved to get to a final. I watched every single match for England. They were boring to watch. They couldn't score goals. They scraped through thanks to a few individual moments of brilliance, and then they bottled the final. I'm firmly in the Southgate out camp. I think we would have even said Southgate out if we won this, because we would have only probably won this on penalties or some fluke, because England don't play. It's not that they don't look well coached. As I said, you've got the best players in. You've got the best player in Spain. You've got the best goal scorer in Europe. You've got 2 of the best players in the Premier League on the wings. You've got quality everywhere. And I'm coming out of this and I'm thinking Jordan Pickford was the player for England of the tournament. So look, it's Everton before England. I'll be honest. It always has been and always will be. But I also don't get the self-loathing English fans who are in the Northwest who bring too much politics into football. I'm looking at this purely from a footballing perspective. I'm English. I'm born in England. I support Everton. I don't get why there are some self-hating, tend to be Liverpool fans really, who hate England. If you hate England, fuck off somewhere else. That's what I say. I could say a lot more, but I'm not going to do it on this stream. But I find it very bizarre. Back the team, back the country. From an Everton perspective, Jordan Pickford did very well. And there wasn't a lot that happened to any other Everton players in the tournament. Onana, of course, went out, and now he's going to Aston Villa. Mikolenko was injured. And I don't really think we had anyone else. And that kind of shows the level Everton are at, really, that we don't have many international footballers. Got none at the Copa America. And we had 2 or 3 or 4 here at the Euro. So it's disappointing. But for me, the manager's got to go. You've got to get fresh impetus into that group, because you've got world-class players, outstanding players, a very good squad, and you've bottled another final. You've not turned up. I don't know what you've done. You could watch it back and just look at it and think, it was just Spain, just controlling it, just dominating it, and baffling. You've got to put players in the best position, play to the strengths, make the substitutions well. It's all stale. He's too much Mr. Nice Guy. Some people might disagree and say he has a contract for life. He's got to 2 finals, another semi-final, I think. But yeah, it's a bit flat. And now we turn our attention back to Everton, and we just announced a nice pre-season game against Roma. I got a Roma kit for my 30th birthday when I was in Rome last November. So I've got a little affiliation with Rome only recently, but they're a big club, capital city, of course, of Italy, and they've got their own history. But it's a nice fixture to have, the final pre-season fixture at Goodison Park, Everton versus Rome. Roma, I can't actually go. I'm working, but for all those going, I think that'll be a real delight. And let's now turn our focus to Everton. Let's hope we can get some transfers in, get rid of Onana if he's that deal's 50 million. That's agreed. 50 million plus add-ons. Get him out and get some players in, and let's try and have some positivity and go and do something this season, because football is for fun. We're not, we watch it as fans for fun. You've got to have some enjoyment. You've got to have some pleasure. And England don't really give you that. They're boring to watch. They're negative. And Everton at times over the last 3 years, we've been boring to watch. We've been depressing. We've been in relegation battles. I just want to see something we can get behind next season and enjoy. And I hope Jordan Pickford's not too disheartened. I'm going to go through the comments. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. It's free. Click the button below and turn notifications on. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching, make sure you smash the like button for me. Southgate needs to go. Eugene, thank you. I agree. Damien, lucky to get out of the group. I agree. We got to a final because we were the least shit team in the group. Then the run of 3 games in the knockout stages were the easiest fixtures you could pluck possible. And then you've got to a final and you've bottled it. I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching. You've been watching Follow Everton. We'll see you soon. Thank you.